Any news that involves Blue Origin is most likely about one of two things, either a technical failure or a delay. And when it's not one of those, it's usually about the company dragging someone into a lawsuit. This time, it's not a competitor or a government agency in the courtroom, it's one of their own passengers. And not just any passenger, global superstar Katy Perry. Blue Origin is suing her for $50 million, claiming she violated safety protocol by opening the capsule hatch too early after the NS-31 mission landed. That's right. Jeff Bezos' space company is dragging a pop singer to court over what amounts to a minor procedural misstep. The incident occurred shortly after the capsule touched down in the West Texas desert following the NS-31 suborbital flight. Everything appeared to go smoothly during the flight itself. New Shepard soared past the Kármán line, gave the passengers a few minutes of weightlessness, and then parachuted safely back to Earth. But the moment the capsule hit the ground, the cameras kept rolling, and that's when the real spectacle began. Not from the rocket, but from the humans involved. Excited and still in the adrenaline rush of zero-G, Katy Perry, who had been waving enthusiastically just moments earlier, apparently unbuckled and pushed open the hatch before the ground crew gave the official clearance. It wasn't a massive safety failure. Nobody was hurt and the vehicle was already motionless, but it was technically a breach of Blue Origin's post-landing protocol. And because this was all happening live on camera, the company couldn't contain or edit what happened next. As if that wasn't enough of a distraction from the carefully managed PR image Blue Origin tries to maintain, Jeff Bezos himself was caught on footage running toward the capsule in an awkward and clearly overeager sprint, attempting to be the first to greet the passengers. In his rush, Bezos stumbled and nearly face-planted in the dust, catching himself just in time. The clip went viral within minutes. What was supposed to be a triumphant moment for Blue Origin's return to flight after a long hiatus became a meme. Bezos tumbling through the Texas sand while a pop star opens the hatch too early on live television. Rather than laugh it off or handle the situation behind closed doors, Bezos and his legal team chose to escalate the entire thing into a lawsuit, suing Katy Perry for an eye-popping $50 million. According to them, her actions weren't just impulsive. They disrupted safety operations, undermined post-flight procedures, and damaged the company's image. But let's be real. The only thing that really damaged the company's image was how over-the-top their reaction was. Blue Origin could have used this moment to show leadership, humility, or even a little humor. Instead, they went with litigation. It's the kind of overreaction that makes it feel less like a space company and more like a tech billionaire's vanity project spiraling out of control. And it fits into a larger pattern. When Blue Origin can't win with rockets, it tries to win with lawyers. Whether it's competitors, government agencies, or now their own celebrity passengers, Blue Origin's first instinct seems to be, see you in court. Let's be honest, this isn't about safety. If it were, the company could have issued a fine, revised its training protocol, or quietly handled it behind closed doors. But that's just how Blue Origin operates. When the rockets aren't flying, or worse, when they fail, the lawsuits start flying instead. That's been Bezos' go-to strategy for years now. Don't outbuild the competition, outsue them. We've seen this playbook before. Blue Origin has spent more time and energy in courtrooms than on actual launches. When NASA awarded the Human Landing System contract to SpaceX in 2021, Blue Origin didn't try to compete with a better design or faster execution. They sued. They accused NASA of being unfair, claimed safety concerns, and tried to block the deal in court. They lost. This has become a pattern. When things don't go Bezos' way, he doesn't push harder on innovation. He just picks up the phone and calls his lawyers. And that's exactly what seems to be happening now with Katy Perry. It's not about the hatch, it's about control, it's about media, and it's about distracting everyone from the fact that Blue Origin is falling further and further behind. The lawsuit claims that Perry opened the capsule hatch before receiving clearance from the ground crew. That moment was caught live on television, so the company says it made them look unprofessional and endangered safety. But let's think this through. If your flight protocols are so fragile that one excited passenger opening a hatch early puts people at risk, maybe the problem isn't the passenger. It's the training, the engineering, or the operational procedures. Instead of admitting that they need to improve internal processes, Blue Origin went straight to court. The $50 million figure feels less like a real damage estimate and more like clickbait. It's a move designed to grab headlines, go viral on social media, and get Blue Origin's name back into public conversation. But once again, it's for the wrong reasons. Musk has mocked this habit repeatedly and rightly so. His famous line, "You can't sue your way to the moon," sums it up perfectly. But let's set the controversies aside for a moment. Let's just look at Blue Origin's actual work, their launch history, their so-called accomplishments, their contribution to spaceflight. And when we do that, we see almost nothing. Blue Origin's launch portfolio over the past few years is frankly laughable for a company backed by the third richest man on Earth. In 2022, 2 launches. In 2023, a grand total of 0. That's right, an entire calendar year without a single liftoff. And in 2024, just 1 flight. 1. That's fewer launches in 3 years than SpaceX does in a single month. And this is supposed to be one of the leading private space companies? Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos has publicly admitted that he's funding Blue Origin by liquidating $1 billion worth of Amazon stock every year. He once proudly stated that space is the most important work I'm doing, as he continues to burn through his fortune to keep Blue Origin barely crawling forward. If we're being honest, at this pace, it feels less like funding a rocket company and more like pouring money into a very expensive hobby. The company has become notorious for how slow it moves. They take years to develop, delay their own timelines constantly, and when they do finally launch, it's either suborbital or ends in failure. New Glenn, their much-hyped orbital rocket, finally had a launch attempt in 2024, after years of delays, and the booster didn't even survive re-entry. A decade of promises, and they still haven't managed a successful orbital launch. Now let's compare that to SpaceX. In 2022, SpaceX launched 61 rockets. In 2023, they crushed their own record with 96 launches. And in 2024, an absolutely staggering 112 successful launches. That's not just impressive, it's historic. SpaceX alone accounted for over 50% of all global orbital launches in 2024. One company, responsible for half of humanity's space activity that year. That's not market presence, that's total domination. And while Blue Origin is still doing short up-and-down rides on New Shepard, SpaceX is flying astronauts to the International Space Station, launching Starlink satellites by the thousands, landing boosters like clockwork, and running full-stack Starship test flights with more thrust than any rocket ever built. It's like comparing a luxury golf cart to a fleet of Teslas, semi-trucks, and Cybertrucks, all being launched into orbit daily. Blue Origin keeps talking about building the future of humanity in space, but right now, they can't even build a reliable schedule. And it's hard to take a company seriously when their track record looks like a list of technical delays and legal tantrums, while their competition is rewriting the entire book on spaceflight. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.